Hey everyone! In this episode summary, we will be discussing the events of Three Body Season 1 Episode 10. While there is a lot to go over, in this episode Wang Miao, Edward Zhang, and Shi Qiang, He Wei, return to headquarters to discuss what Shen Yu Fei, Xiao Ran, has told them about her deep faith to the frontiers of science. We will also be discussing the investigation of Yang Dong, He Juan, and why she killed herself after her experiment failed, and Wang Miao's defensive behavior regarding her. We'll be talking about Wang Miao and Ye Wenjie's Chen Jin relationship that starts to form, the overall messages of the show, and more. So stay tuned to the end for a deeper dive into Three Body, and don't forget to like and comment on this video if you enjoyed it. I'm ready whenever you are. Let's go. Shi Qiang is determined to figure out why Yang Dong killed herself months after her experiment failed, instead of immediately. He sent Xu Bingbing to ask her physicist fiancé Ding Yi, Eric Wang, to retrace the final weeks of Yang Dong's life. It turned out that Yang Dong had given up scientific research after her failure and agreed to marry Ding Yi. The two of them spent their days shopping for new furniture and decorations to prepare for the wedding. Shi Qiang assumes Yang Dong had decided to settle down and be content with being an ordinary woman, but the flashbacks show her to be anything but content. While the book suggests Yang Dong was on the autism spectrum, it was never brought up in the show. Despite this, it can be inferred that it had to be devastating for her to realize the entire world she built around physics and her work could collapse at any time. Though this didn't drive her to suicide, she accepted a new research position around 3 days before she ended her life. So the question now is, what happened in those 3 days? The other mystery for Shi Qiang is why her mother, Ye Wenjie, didn't seem to notice any change in her behavior. He then turns his attention to Wang Miao and asks him to use his growing bond with Ye to get some answers. This generates an argument between Wang and Shi, where Wang gets frustrated being pulled away from his research on nanotechnology when they have yielded no results. Here, Shi argues that detective work was no different from scientific inquiry, as they keep running the evidence to search for a conclusion. With the investigation such a central part of the show, the audience can't wait to see what answers Shi Qiang can uncover. Shi Qiang turns his attention to the mystery of Ye Wenjie and why she didn't seem to notice any change in her daughter's behavior. It was here that Wang Miao was also asked to use his bond with her to get answers. In order to do this, Wang Miao agreed to give a lecture about his scientific research to Ye Wenjie's old class at the university. During the lecture, Wang took the opportunity to talk to Ye about her past during the Cultural Revolution. This then gave way to flashback scenes to the younger Ye Wenjie. The flashback shows her being sent to a work camp in the mountains in the north with other youth to cut down trees to clear the path for the building of a top-secret observatory. During her time there, she befriends Bai Mulin, a soulful journalist sent to cover the camp's progress. He shared with her a book called Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, and asked her to help him to translate some of the book and create a letter to the Central Committee to explain the consequences of deforestation that they are undertaking in their work. Ye Wenjie offers to rewrite the letter for him as his hands had become shaky from all the manual labor. The flashbacks to the Cultural Revolution are restrained from depicting any brutality, and only hints are given to the scarcity of food that was being endured. However, even though there has been no open acknowledgement, it is still quite clear through these scenes that there was a lot of hardship to be found in these work camps. Through the exploration of Ye Wenjie's past in this episode, the viewers gain better insight into the motivations that triggers Ye Wenjie's passionate pursuit in environmentalism, and ultimately the mystery surrounding her daughter's death. In order to gain answers, Wang Miao builds a strong bond with Ye Wenjie through his lecture. After discussing his scientific research, the two begin to really discuss their pasts and the changes that have occurred emotionally and scientifically as the world has evolved. It is clear from the conversation between the two that there is a deep understanding between the two, and that Wang is also looking to Ye Wenjie for her advice and guidance. We then see Wang open up more to Ye about his own past and how he got to the present moment. The bond between the two deepens as Wang recounts the story of his father passing away because of cancer. His father was a scientist who was never able to pursue his own research due to a lack of resources. This is where Wang Miao wanted to make a difference, in scientific research and the knowledge, but in a better way than his father's death. It was here that Ye Wenjie had some comforting words to share with him, as she expresses her own understanding of the situation, having gone through the effects of her own son's death. This was an emotional moment, an exchange of understanding between Wang and Ye Wenjie, as they bonded through their mutual losses, an understanding of their beliefs in science and technology. Wang realizes the impact of his father's death on himself and his mentality in pursuing science, as he acknowledged his feelings of guilt at not being able to save his father. Ye Wenjie begins to tell Wang more about her own past, and how she too was not able to save her son. It was here that their bond really began to be seen, almost as if Wang was looking for the same compassion and comfort for his own circumstance through Ye Wenjie. They both understand the other's grief, longing for their absent loved ones, and the wish to have the loss be healed. Through their bond, Wang Miao was getting closer and closer to the answer that Shi Qiang had been searching for. As his relationship with Ye Wenjie was deepening, they were learning more and more about each other's past and the things that made them who they were. After discussing the present, the conversation shifts to Ye Wenjie's past, specifically during the Cultural Revolution. This is the first time that the TV show shows us a flashback of Ye feeling the brutality of the effects of this period and the way it affected her. The flashback takes us to the mountain up in the north, where young Ye Wenjie is sent with other youth to cut down trees to build a top-secret observatory. Through this flashback, the viewer gets to see how Ye Wenjie had to endure these harsh living conditions in which they were given scarce food and had to work hard every day. The most interesting part of the scene is the book that Ye is given by her friend, a colleague, Bai Mulan. He gives her a book called Silent Spring, which is a pivotal 1962 book about environmentalism and the dangers of pollution and pesticides, which is the environmental message that the show touches upon. It is significant to note the fact that this book, which was banned in China, is openly named in the TV series, shows that there has been some growth and progress in the region since the Cultural Revolution, allowing for this book to be viewed and accepted by some viewers. It is here that we see how Ye and Mulan's bond becomes quite strong, as she, the scientist, and he, the journalist, form a bond because of their understanding of the situation they are all a part of. This book helps cement this bond between the two, as Ye is able to comprehend it and offer to rewrite the letter that Mulan has asked her to accompany the book with. This provides a critical clue for the investigators, as this further illuminates the fact that Greenpeace had an influence in the region, raising awareness about the cultural issues and the environment, long before Beijing's bid to be the site for the Olympic Games in the 90s. The flashback serves to showcase the history and long-term effects of the Cultural Revolution, showing that there was an impact even beyond the physical loss of life, as it traumatized the individuals living through it, an effect that still can be felt to this day. It is clear that the show is handling this topic with great care, refraining from showing the beatings and punishments and the brutal work details, and instead just giving us glimpses of the experiences. The main environmental message of Three Body is the environmental destruction that takes place both on Earth and in the universe. In this episode, we get the book Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, which touches on environmentalism, the dangers of pollution, and the use of pesticides. This book is openly mentioned, which tells us that it is no longer banned in China. It remains in print. This serves as a powerful nod to the progress that China has made since the Cultural Revolution. Throughout the episode, we also see how destructive human intervention can be when it comes to our environment. From cutting down the trees in the mountains to destroy the ecosystem to sabotaging laboratories, we see how the frontiers of science fiction has been taking advantage of the environment and people's understanding of the environment. It is clear that the characters in the show understand the importance of being responsible and protective of the environment. We also see this understanding in Ye Wenjie's relationship with Bai Mulin, as they bond over their individual appreciation and understanding of the importance of protecting the environment. The episode also talks about how human greed and ambition can cause environmental damage, specifically when the frontiers of science faction takes advantage of their influence in the region to sabotage and destroy laboratories and research facilities. This serves to further drive the environmental message of the show, as it emphasizes the need for proper caution and understanding when it comes to the environment. Overall, the environmental message in this episode is clear and appropriate. Not only does it highlight the importance of being conscious and protective of the environment, it also puts in perspective the dangers of human intervention in environmental protection. It illuminates how human ambition and greed can cause environmental destruction and how it is important to consider the consequences of our actions. This episode also provides an intriguing insight into mental health, specifically when it comes to Yang Dong's life. We find out later in the episode that she is on the autism spectrum, which may explain why she struggled to process the traumatizing news of physics not existing, and why she opted for settling down and forgetting about physics altogether, rather than researching further into it. The flashbacks we get throughout the episode about Yang Dong also help show her inner struggles in a poignant and emotionally intense way. We see how she was struggling even when her life seemed perfect, with Ding Yi buying her all the furniture and decorations for the wedding. The intensity of the flashbacks helps show that she was anything but content, and it is only through these flashbacks that we, the audience, can truly understand Yang Dong and her struggles. The episode also mentions how it was difficult to tell if there were any changes in Yang Dong's behavior, which further brings to light the lack of understanding of mental health in this instance. It is clear that there is an ongoing stigma surrounding mental health, and the lack of understanding of it can lead to devastating results, as is the case in this episode. This episode provides an even deeper understanding of mental health and the stigma surrounding it. It shows us how difficult it is to help someone with mental health when they might not be aware of it themselves, and how this can lead to devastating results. This episode helps highlight the importance of understanding and respecting mental health, which is critical in ensuring people around us get the support and recognition they need. In the end, Three Body Season 1 Episode 10 offers insight into mental health, environmentalism, and secretive pasts. Wang Miao, Edward Zhang, and Shi Qiang's He Wei investigations serve as a reminder that although two opposite fields of work, detective work and scientific research, share similar qualities, progress always takes a backseat to understanding and the truth. Shi Qiang's investigation required a sound grasp of human behavior, as much as Wang Miao's scientific research required a technical mind. The brilliance of the episode lies in its subtle implications, as well as its inherent willingness to explore themes that are often uncomfortable or held within a less than desirable light. Though these topics often evoke complex and somber emotions, Three Body Season 1 Episode 10 bravely tackles them and attempts to provide a sense of hope, or at the very least a way of understanding the issue from a different perspective. The episode follows Wang Miao and Shi Qiang through their detective work and shows how challenging it can be to solve mysteries, even when science and detective work cross paths. It encourages viewers to think back to what's important in life and how everyone's contributions are important, no matter the job. This episode has a lot to offer to both science and mystery fans. It all makes for an interesting and memorable episode of Three Body, and a great topic of discussion after watching. Now that you've heard what this amazing episode has to offer, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to help support it. With more viewership, you can help ensure that more amazing topics such as these keep coming. Thanks, and until next time.